Ko atochin eng logoiwekab emet kong'ete Kass TV ne somanun kwane Bernard Tanoi kimit ak Naomi Cherotich eng kebeberta nebo kabarunoik ara itagat kitaune county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet ole kakikoito kurset koityi meng'ikab county noto bo Elgeyo Marakwet chetindoi kabarunoik chebo miondab mpox koba sipitali eng chokchinet asikonyor konyoiset nenyolu. Kamwa CC nebo tililindo eng serikalitab county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet Monica Rotich kole kakenyorchi mionoto chi agenge eng komasta nebo Kapsawar ole kerat chichoto eng sipitalitab Kapsawar Mission Hospital kotesetai konyoru konyoiset ole kamwa ine kole bo komonut eng biikab county noto koribkei akoba sipitali yeker kabarunoik chebo mionoto bo mpox.
We would want to confirm that in Elgeyo Marakwet we now have a confirmed case of mpox, and I would want to wish actually to reach out to our public and report that we had yesterday we confirmed one case of mpox. This is a disease which is viral in nature and it spreads very fast. So the person who is affected is actually isolated now in Kapsawar, and the tests were done, confirmed. We have isolated her, it's a lady, and we are urging our people now to be very careful, to take care of their hygiene, take care of every other aspect of their health. Being a viral, it spreads very fast, and this is a case that has been ongoing in the country. We want to request that our people be very careful. Allow me to say in Swahili that huu ni ugonjwa ambao umekuwa kwa muda sasa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, na tunaomba watu wetu kama vile tulifanya wakati wa corona, tafadhali tuweze kuwa wasafi, tuweze kudumisha usafi katika nyumba yetu, katika kila mahali, na tunapotembea pia tuweze kuosha mikono mahali tunaenda, kwa sababu mpox ikiwa ugonjwa ambayo inaletwa na virusi, tafadhali kila mmoja wetu akuwe makini kwa mahali tunatembea. Kwa hivyo tunajaribu kuangalia ile contact tracing ili tuweze kuisolate wale watu ambao wame interact na huyo mgonjwa ambaye amepatikana pale Kapsawar, kwa sababu watu wetu wote ni muhimu na tunafaa kujichunga sisi sote. Huu ugonjwa unapata rashes, acha niseme rashes kwa mwili yote. Chembe ambazo zinatokea katika mwili yote, joto, na signs tu ni kama karibu ile na ya corona, lakini sana iko na blisters, iko na rashes kama blisters ambayo inashika mtu mwili yote. Kwa hivyo that is the first sign, na ukiona kitu kama hicho tafadhali report to the nearest health facility ama hospitali. Watu wetu wa disease surveillance wako macho ili kuweza kuangalia katika kaunti yote kama kuna watu ambao watapatikana na dalili za huu ugonjwa.
Ngebagoi county nebo Nandi ole kaimongei sigikab Meswa Primary School nemite kebeberta bunge nebo Emgwen akoker sugulinotok kosub ak nemwoe ichek kole kikotestai konetindet neo nebo sugulinotok kondochi sugulinotok eng oret nemaititaat. Kamwa sigichotok konyitotin neregek kole tab kondochi sugulinotok tichainotok ko kikotestai koek ng'weny somanet koboto tetutikab bandab tai, kit nemwoe ichek kole mawekse let akoi kasarta nekakisipto konetindonotok. Kokinyoru report notok eng koindo kobun sirindenyo eng taonitab Kapsabet Cornelius Keter.
Kamwa sigikab kipsomaninikab sugulinotok bo Meswa Primary kondochin Henry Mayo kole chang kewelutik chemitei sugulinotok kole karirtae konetindet neo eng nekaletab kondochi sugulinotok kokikotestai kowek let tetutikab bandab tai koboto somanetab lagokwak.
Ana amusasinyu kongete 2006 kokisire sugulini akoi karibu 2014. Alen headmaster ini ko kikongem tuguk, kingem ketik che kiribe akot lagokchok. Stimet ko mamite yu. Ako mi lagok ako yochech kila. Nguno kelen headmaster kiibeshe kanisa aka sukul. So kimeche kelejin suppose otu ya kimite ko suppose ituye en committee chekuk aka kanisa. Lakini umeharibu sana. Kingem kabisa oche. So nguno headmaster iwechike pole kijamini nye.
Intimidation ya walimu iko juu sana. In fact, mtetezi wa walimu huko hapa I know without a fear of contradiction ya kwamba walimu wengi hapa wanataka kuenda kwa hii shule.
Kisuguli ni ko kisugulit nekipomani mising. Kimi barang mising. Ako kingoit headmaster yandani konyokwo kiptubotoi nebo boisionik chekikiyoe eng sugulini. Kikoba ngony ngalekab lagok eng sugulini ako kimi tai sugulini. So kinyonyo koek brokayat kanyo misuse tugukab sugul. Aldo ketik ko kimitu chekikitinye eng sugulini. Lakini kialdae tuga kora. Checham keki eng sugulini asike konyoru mwalimuinik akot chaik. Kimakemoche kengetin kikokilen kechop tuchechoket sikonyoru mwalimuinik chaik. Lakini makingen ole mi tuga nguno.
Kamwa sigichotok eng nerege kole maweksei let ichek kot kesipto konetindonotok ole kale kikotestai koek konakut neo eng sugulinotok koboto kanetik.
We are taking over the responsibilities ya the school na from now tumesema kwamba headmaster aende. Hiyo ni chambo yenye hatutarudi nyuma. Hakuna masomo itaendelea hapa.
Tumache kemwa kele inji mwalimu yondoni ko kakeesye kongete rani. Kimache kekone mwalimu yon age ne lel nenyone sugulini. Sikobit nyokenamgei tugul aketou ketech sugulit amu kiketech sugulit necham kikosir lagok mising sugulini. Lakini kinyokowekta sugulit kwo ngony. Kinyokowekta sugulit kwo ngony sugulit nekiindoi eng Nandi misima. So kelen ingwanye konam serikali akoro ole katokchi makemoche eng sugulini.
Kit kityo nekiruptoe nekimwoe ako kakekoshine ko kisigik. Kilen kering must go.
Tumesema tu education officer unasikia, mjipange pole na mwalimu wenu na handing over atakuja, lakini kwa wakati huu asikanyake compound yetu ya shule.
Eng komastanyi komwa sirindet neo nebo kibagengeitab konetik nebo NAT eng Nandi Central ak Chesumei Bernard Mayo kole mitei kakwautik chenyolu kisub amait keker sukul ole kasom sigichotok kokoch boroindo ministry nebo somanet koletit kaimutik chemitei sukulinotok.
Hiyo kufunga shule kulingana na sheria zetu za ministry ni kama hatia kufunga shule.
Kongete taunitab Kapsabet eng county nebo Nandi, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Cornelius Keter.
Tindoi kamang'unet serikali kole ibelishei eng kesit nekikoito eng kapkirwok netokchinigei kitonon boisietab muswoknotet eng ng'aletab tugukab serikali anan e-procurement. Ole kamwa sirindet neo eng ministry nebo rabinik anan treasury Dr. Chris Kiptoo kole bo kamanut mising tetutionotok eng kirindaetab yautik chebo nametab asoya eng ng'aletab tuguk eng departments cheterter chebo serikali ak counties. Kong'ololi eng tuyetab MPs anan retreat netesetai eng komosta nebo Naivasha eng Nakuru County, komwa Dr. Kiptoo kole tesetai serikali kosuldaen kakwautik cheterter chetokchinigei keregune besendo nekiyoche emetab Kenya ak koitetab rabinik chekiboisien eng lipanetab kiboitinikab serikali.
The situation has changed such that by the fiscal year 2025-26, we allocated 48.5% of ordinary revenue to be for CFS. This is high compared to 16.4% 10 years ago. So if 10 years ago we were paying 16.4% ordinary revenue for CFS, now we are doing 48.5%. If we continue with this trend, in the next 10 years, assuming we don't do anything, it means we will just be collecting to pay for debt. And this is why we have been really working around it to see how to manage debt and see how to look at ways to get some things off budget so that we don't accumulate more debt. And then another point is that the share of development budget has shrunk. We had 20.8, in fact, 2016, 2017, we had about 28% of allocation going to the development budget. Now it has come to almost 11.2%. It has shrunk. This is what I mean by tight, shrinking fiscal space. And maybe we look at recurrent, and look at the recurrent spending. Who takes the lion's share of recurrent spending, you can see, I mean, for total spending, you can see that recurrent expenditure has grown. It's now almost 17.5% of GDP. Then development is quite low, as you can see. But total expenditures, we're talking about 23.5%. So you can see 23.5% of GDP expenditure side. On the revenue side, you're talking about 14. But now we are trying to close that. So expenditure has remained elevated in recent years, reflecting sustained government spending pressures despite efforts we are making on fiscal consolidation. We are looking at deepening tax administration. In fact, yesterday we had a high-level meeting with KRA trying to see how best KRA can do to collect more. And also scaling up non-tax revenues. But we have to be innovative to see that we also look at things that do not have to require that we rely on taxation, which is why we have, I'm coming back to the issue of infrastructure fund and others. So, honorable members, the next slide shows where we have come and where we want to go. On the right side is where we are aiming to go with the reforms that I have indicated, national tax policy, medium-term revenue strategy, and all the measures to drive, to increase the revenues. We want to reverse the declining trend. And this is our fiscal consolidation effort. If you can move to the next slide. So how are we doing on the expenditure side? You may have seen, and this could be reflected in the budget, we try to rationalize and reduce what we call non-essential expenditures. But sometimes it's very difficult to convince someone that travel is not essential. Because sometimes yourselves, you have to travel abroad. But it's a candidate for budget cut when it comes to travel or training. But training is important for our staff. We must continuously train. So it becomes very difficult sometimes to say, what is it that is non-essential in the budget? But we believe that there's still a lot of room in our budget that we can deal and actually make it efficient. So we need to create efficient expenditures by doing proper prioritization of ongoing projects. We should not start new projects before we complete existing. And this has been our desire, that we really clear backlogs. We have also tried to limit what we call year-in adjustments to the budget. But it has been very difficult. This is why we are coming back to you even before end of the year. We would have loved you do one budget, we implement, we bring the next budget without coming to Parliament for supplementary. But the realities of the day require that we have to come. Because if the initial plan is not going the way you wanted, it requires that we come back to Parliament to seek your permission to make adjustments on the budget. We have also implemented reforms like e-procurement. You all know we have had challenges with e-procurement. But the desire of e-procurement was that we need to move everything on e-procurement. Best practice has shown that if we are all on e-procurement, potentially we can save between 10 to 20% of our expenditure through procurable items. And it is still our desire that despite the setback that we have had in implementing the e-procurement, we still want to push so that we derive the benefits.
Ngebagwe county nebo Bomet ole nyolu eng biikab emoni kowekchigei kolset ak ametab amitwogik chebo keny amu toreti amitwogik choto eng teksetab borto ak chametabgei nebo kimugulmet. Kama ofisayat kubun kibengeitab National Museum of Kenya, Professor Esther Kioko, kole bo kamanut mising amitwogikab kipkaa amu tindoi tuguk chechang chemokotin eng borto ak kounotok konyolu keboisie eng kotugul kongenyoru logoiwechotok kubun sirindenyo eng county nebo Bomet, Festus Rono.
Professor Esther Kioko ko agenge en ofisaek kobun National Museums of Kenya nekamwa ine kole minutikab amitwogik chebo keny anan kipkaa ko tinye boisiet neo en emet cheboto istoetab rubosiek en emet ak nomegei ak itondab emet newaloksei ak en noton kobo komonut en tililindo.
As National Museums of Kenya, our mission is to ensure that our cultural and natural heritage is reserved for the current and also for the future generations. So when we talk of the indigenous crops, they are at the heart of our mission. They are at the heart of our mandate. And as we look at both the cultural and natural heritage, we see the indigenous crops playing a very key role. Also, as we look at UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 5 pillars which focus on the planet, the people, prosperity, peace, and partnerships, we feel that these indigenous crops tie all of us together as people with our nature. Some of these crops, like the millets we've mentioned, the green vegetables, they are very nutritious, as we've already mentioned, and they play a key role in food security. And some of these crops also are very adapted to our climatic situations.
Karirtaen Professor Priska Tanui nebo Moi University kit nekamwa kole kiwal kiplelachek amitwogikab keny ole kosom kole kewekchigei biikab emet amitwogikab keny amun tinye kelchinoik en bortab chito ak en istoetab rubosiek.
For us to understand kwa nini tuliwacha chakula yetu, we must see our history. Nini ilifanyika ndio tukawacha soik, ndio at least hatutumii sana vile tulikuwa tunatumia. Hapo nimeona mboga inaitwa jepkimiet. Kwa nini hatutumii hizo mboga? And yet tunajua iko nutritious. So tulifanya hii research, tukaona vile ilifanyika. Na tuliongea na most of these ladies, most of these men, na tukaona ni shida ya colonialism. When we were colonized, walihitaji chakula ya laborers na wakaeka mbele mahindi kuliko chakula yetu, kuliko millet, kuliko sorghum na hiyo mboga yetu.
En kasaraton ko kimit ofisaek cheboisie en serikalitab county nebo Bomet kole nyolu kekol amitwogik choton nomegei ak itondab emet.
Hali ya anga imebadilika, chakula ikakuwa scarce. Hatuwezi pata chakula kwa manyumbani mwetu, hatuna chakula. So what we are now doing, this thing of which we are reviving the indigenous crops, it will now bring what is called food security. Tutapata chakula. You have heard from the chairperson, like, if we check these indigenous crops, it has a very high nutritional value. Hatuwezi konyeka ovyo ovyo. Agere chebyoso kiewa senga pesa chekonyolji. Ile kiite yambucho, ile kyoite yambucho.
Kong'ololi icheken betutab kaborunetab amitwogikab keny nekakiyai en sukulitab muswoknotet nebo South Technical Training Institute nemiten en Mereki en Bomet East en county nebo Bomet. Kong'eten county nebo Bomet, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyun ko Festus Rono.
Kongebe agoi sukulit nekineten ofisaekab police nebo National Police Service nemiten Bakas Nairobi ole tesetai igorta nebo kawektaetab kongoi koboto toksetab asikarik chotok kibunu emetab Haiti kokimite kalyet eng emonoto ole neng'olole eng nguno ko Inspector General nebo police noto ko Douglas Kanja nekakotar kong'ololi eng kasarta nenwach nekakosirto ole eng tai kokang'alal Kipchumba Murkomen ole eng nguno ko Dr. Monica Juma neng'ololi eng nguno kongebe kekas kele mwoe ne.
The President to our responsibility as a member of the international community people for international solidarity and assist in salvaging the confidence to deploy was a suitable contribution and experience in international peace support operations.
Ko noto ko igorta noto nebo tokset ak kawektaetab kongoi eng asikarik choto kikaba emetab Haiti kokimit kalyet ole tesetai igoratak eng National Police College nemite Embakasi eng Nairobi ole noto ng'ololi eng yo ko Dr. Monica Juma ako mito kora Minister nebo ripsetab kalyet eng emet orit Kipchumba Murkomen koboto Inspector General nebo Police Douglas Kanja ak ofisaek alak che echen chebo police ak serikali. Ko kiwang'une logoiwek chok county nebo Baringo ole chang biik che ibeti kamuget noto nebo kubwa eng kelyek eng county nebo Baringo kosubkei ak yusindo koboto susetab indarok ak crocodile koboto kagotonoshekab risasiat kit neipchin kwa barak magetab wheelchairs cheketoreten bichotok kosub ak CEO nebo kibengeitab Op Mobility Kenya Jack Muthui ko mogotin wheelchairs cheite 100,000 eng kenyit age tugul ngegerchin ak wheelchairs 10,000 chekimuche keal kityo ole nyolu eng serikali ak stakeholders alak kotoret ng'aletab wheelchairs choto asikonyor toretet biik chemaimuchi kobendat eng emet. Nitok ko kosub ak nemite barak olyetab wheelchairs cheketoreten bichotok ko kinyoru report notok eng koindo kobun sirindenyo eng kebeberta nebo Kabarnet Tom Chepsoi.
Miten kurset nebo ketese eng ng'echerok anan ko karishek cheboisien biik chetindoi kaimutik chebo borwek choton ko wheelchairs eng emet kosubkei ak kibagengeit nebo Op Mobility. CEO noton ko Jack Muthui ko kamwa neton kole takomiten ng'weny karishek choton bo wheelchair chebo ketoret biik chetindoi kaimutik choton.
There's a big need for wheelchairs in Kenya. The annual need for wheelchair is about 100,000 per year. And among the providers who are giving wheelchairs, they're only able to provide a combined of about 10,000, which is a drop in the ocean. There's a very high number of persons with disability, not only in Baringo, but globally. The statistic right now is that 1 in every 10 persons has a disability. And we think more research still needs to be done because the data we have on disability in Kenya is not very good. But we think some of the attributable causes could be people are living longer. And as they're living longer, there's also the lifestyle diseases that are coming. So there are people who are acquiring disability from just the lifestyle diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other associated illnesses. There's also quite a number of young children we've noticed who are being born with conditions like cerebral palsy, autism.
Niko na mtoto ako 12 good years, ako CP. Cerebral palsy ni condition yenye affect mtoto. Hakuna kutembea ama kuketi ama kufanya nini. So unaona hii Hope Mobility leo kwangu imenisaidia kwa sababu nimepata hiyo wheelchair na niko sure mtoto atakalia na itanipea hiyo kuwa movement itakuwa rahisi hata wakati ambapo nahitaji kufanya jambo lingine ama kama saa zile niko na kazi zangu za nyumba, at least nitamweka hiyo mtoto hapo na naweza kukaa chini.
We know that wheelchair is very important part of an individual. We want to make sure that it fits the person right, and we just don't hand the wheelchairs out. So we have a team here who are working. The next 3 days we'll be fitting wheelchairs to people so that they make sure that they are all comfortable and they will go home happy with hope and dignity in their life.
Kama Muthui neten kole meche emetab Kenya ng'echeroshek choton anan ko karishek choton bo wheelchair chesire 100,100 kobaten konyoru icheket eng kila kenyit cheite 10,000 nekamwa neten kole takomiten kurset barak nebo keker kele kachang'a ak keyochi kora chikilishet biik chetindoi kaimutik cheterter koboto korotwek cheibu yosindo anan ko biik chekakome koba kenyisiek koekekitu missing.
My message is we've seen that the highest statistic of people with disability, 1 in 10. You actually don't see those people until you come to an event like this and you wonder, where were all these people? Why didn't I see them before? And the one place that is very noticeable is in the church.
As a person with disability, I have experienced the struggle, the pain that people with disability go through every single time. And so when God gave me the opportunity to be able to go to the U.S. and see how people of disability are treated over there, it gave me a passion to come back here and serve people with disability.
Kusukwe amosole mpaka na kamiko touch kibagenge noton po up mobility yengo musikaton po ilchamus ko maneton gole yengo musikaton po Baringo County kumiten biik yemu konyor ko mutikyoton po matundoi koba engeli kusukwe ak ko mutikyoton po kabokkinit kobun ndarok ak alak enguiguik anan go tingonget yengo musikyoton po nyanjetab Lake Baringo koboto Lake Bogoria koboto ko musikyoton miten ketin nat ku madenge ni kotasta ko ibo mutik engeliek koboto gelek kibo biik.
Baringo is leading among the 47 counties in the high number of people living with disability. These are attributed mainly because of one, the issue of insecurity, where we have many people who have been amputated because of the bullets. There is the element of the madenge tree here, which actually has caused many people to be crippled. There is the element of snake bites in Baringo again, which is making the rates of these people to go higher. And that is why we are saying Baringo need an attention. And my appeal to the Baringo County, is it is high time for Baringo County to come up with a policy or some framework to address welfare of people living with disability.
Kongeten tonton ko Barnet Baringo County lo gabe chipo Kass anego tom chipsoi.
Kokoyoto ko kakeit let eng logoiwekab emet ak tetutietab Kass Mashinani nebo betutab raini nekomite tuwai kwane Bernard Tanoi kokimi ak Naomi Cherotich eng kebeberta nebo kabarunoik. Amakon kit age tugul nemie testai iker Kass TV amu kimnotet naet.